Hey guys, Pastor Winston here. So for our movie night, we're planning on watching The Martian with Matt Damon. And why did we choose this movie? Well, first of all, it's got Matt Damon in it, so there's that. But second of all, it's a survival movie. And one of the themes we're talking about for this year is surviving the apocalypse of 2020, right? Now, for the younger kids who are doing the superhero theme, we're talking about for this month, the sub theme is discovering our extraordinary gifts, discovering our powers. Now, that's also relevant in survival situations, right? Because Matt Damon's character is stuck on Mars and has to use the resources that are available to him, his skills and knowledge of science and botany and electronics and mechanics and rocket science in order to survive in that situation. So every different situation, like a catastrophic survival situation, is going to require a different skill set, right? So I want us to reflect upon what, as we face our survival situation, which is a global pandemic and major division within politics and our political life in this country, as we're dealing with things like systemic racism and you see the protests about all that, what is the skill set that we're going to need in order to survive not only this year, but the coming years ahead, which are we're going to have to deal with the same things. These problems are not going to end with 2020, right, as we enter the new year. So as we reflect upon all the problems that we're going through right now, the crisis that we're facing, it seems to me that there's a lack of understanding. There's a lack of consensus about what to do and how to handle these problems. There's a lack of compassion with the division. We see how much hatred and anger and violence there is. So it seems to me that actually what Jesus was teaching, which was a way of compassion, a way of loving not only our neighbors, but outcasts, people who are perceived as not belonging, people who are perceived as different from us, actually is really relevant to what we're going through. So, can we treat these things almost as seeds, the seed of love and compassion and understanding and peace? That maybe even those skills aren't that strong in us now, those abilities, but the idea that we can almost plant them and grow those skills over time. I'm reminded of this parable that I heard that made an impression on me, where a boy is asking a rabbi, saying he doesn't know how to love God. How can I love God when I've never seen God? I think I understand how to love my mother, my father, my brother, my little sister, even the people in our neighborhood, but I don't know how I'm supposed to love God. The rabbi looked at the little boy and said, start with a stone. Try to love a stone. Try to be present to the most simple and basic thing in reality so you can see its goodness and beauty. Then let that goodness and beauty come into you. Let it speak to you. Start with a stone. The boy nodded with understanding. And then basically the rabbi instructs after that, after you've mastered that, try to love a flower, try to love the sky, the mountains, try to love other people, grow that circle of compassion, that compassion muscle, if you will, until you get to the point where you can love and see and sense God in everyone and in everything. So I just offered to you as a practice. Maybe you will practice that, loving a stone, right? Or loving your neighbor, or loving someone who disagrees with you. But I think those are the kind of skills that we need to practice in order to survive what we're going through. So thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoy the movie.